some front page driving news. Bad news. Trying to make some front page driving news. Working on a night news. Trying to make some front page driving news.
Can you imagine?
Okay, welcome to another podcast of Don't Get Us Started. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Al.
This is a show where Chris and I just basically get into things that drive us crazy and things that everybody else talks about out there. So tonight's subject.
We hope we're talking about,
Well, I mean, some people are going to relate to some of the stuff. Some of the people aren't. Some
Right.
people are going to agree. Some people are not going to agree.
Right.
Some people are going to say, "Hey, you don't know anything about what you're talking about, so inform us. Let us know." So
Right.
we welcome your chats and all that. So let's get going. And tonight's subject is things that piss us off, and we all have things that piss us off. So do you want to start, Chris? Or you want me to start?
Well, you can start. It's mostly people and things that piss us off.
Yeah. Well, what made me think of this was, well, you know, Chris, I don't go to the grocery store like I should because I got a few reasons why. All the grocery stores, I live in the city, all the grocery stores, and probably it's true of most places anymore, all these grocery stores that they build are, you know, gigantic. So right down the street from me, we had a grocery store, and I loved that grocery store. It wasn't real big. It was a good size, but it wasn't real big. But it wasn't big enough for everybody. So they decided a few years ago they're going to completely demolish that grocery store. So they leveled it, and then so they took the whole parking lot plus the area that used to be the grocery store, and that became the parking lot. And the new store was built above ground. So now you have not only do you have a gigantic grocery store, you know, it's like you could have the freaking Super Bowl in there. Now you have one that the only way you can get in the grocery store is you go up 2 flights of stairs or you got to use an elevator, which I might add is going to be great when there's a power outage and the backup generator doesn't work and you got 2 grocery carts full of food and you can't get them out of the store. But that's another whole story. So I go to the grocery store, and this happens to me almost every single time I go. I'm going down. Now, sometimes when I go down the aisle of the grocery store, you know, I was actually in the cereal aisle. So I generally will take my cart and I'll kind of go down, and if I just don't want to be moving the cart around, I just push it way over to one side and then leave the cart, and then I walk on down the aisle, you know, and I just kind of shop a little bit, and then my cart's way out of the way. Oh no. Every time I go, I'm going down the aisle the other day, I'm sitting there, and here's this shopping cart, and it's just sitting right in the middle of the aisle. The lady's like 10 feet down, you know, she's looking at whatever. And I'm standing there waiting for her to see if she sees me, which, you know, and then she doesn't until I go to move her cart a little bit out of the way. And then she looks up and it's like, you know, what are you doing, you know, with my cart, which it's not your cart anyway. And it's not your food because you haven't paid for it yet. So, you know, and then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I go down like 3 other aisles and there's somebody else, you know, their cart just sitting right in the middle of the aisle. Now I'm just standing there trying to be patient, you know, and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like, why don't you just move your, you know, it's just one of these things where we talked about it before. It's one of these things where everybody just kind of like is in this little narrow tunnel of they don't pay attention or go around.
I'm going to venture to say that all those people doing that are women. Never a man. Because women, in my opinion, drive their grocery carts like they do their cars. And they think they're the only ones on the road, so they're the only ones in the aisle. And otherwise, when you block the aisle with your cart, people can't get by, right? But they're not thinking that way because they're used to driving that way too. So I would venture to say that all those people you're talking about are women. Because anytime I've experienced that, it's always been women.
Well, I'm so bad at going to the grocery store when I need to. I never really paid attention, but it drives me crazy because one of these days I'll walk into a full cart and I'm gonna like, I'm gonna take over the cart. It's not their cart. They haven't paid for the I'm just gonna take it over and walk by and go,
Well, yeah,
thanks
you
for
wouldn't
doing
even
my shit. No, I'm not stealing.
No,
I'm just
they
gonna
haven't
take
paid
over the
for it
cart
yet.
and say thanks
On
for
the
doing my
store.
shopping. It's great.
Yeah.
Looks like you have good.
Just make sure their purse isn't in it.
Well, yeah. Well, no, if the purse is in it, of course I wouldn't take it. But
But
if it's just food, then it's like, looks like your taste is sort of like mine. Huh? Thanks.
Thanks for shopping for me. Well, have you ever experienced two people? And it could be a male and female in this situation, but anytime I've experienced it, it's been women. And now you have two people that know each other. Now they're going down the aisle. One's going that way, one's going the opposite way. Mm-hmm. And they know each other. And they're like, hey, Lucy. Now they start talking. And now both carts are blocking the aisle. So you wait and you wait and you wait. And then you finally say, excuse me. And now they look at you like, what the F do you want? Mm-hmm. I'm talking, And they move, but it's almost like you've just insulted them. Right. Because you're like, excuse me, because they're not finished talking yet. And I've experienced that a lot in grocery stores.
Yeah. Well, after I got, well, that's sort of, it just made me think of something too. It sort of reminds me of people, and this is male and female. When you're talking about parking lots, it shows sometimes, I think, how oblivious people are. You know how many times that if I wasn't paying attention, I would just run over people in the parking lot? Because people tend to walk right out in the middle of the parking lot. They'll walk down the aisle in the parking lot, and I'll pull up right behind them. They never even notice my car's there, driving behind them. And it's like, if I wasn't really paying attention, they're just walking right down the middle. Anyway, get back to the grocery store. So after I get my groceries, then we go to my second pet peeve, also associated with the grocery store, but other stores. So now they have all of the self-service things. Now, some people love self-service things. Some people don't. I'm mixed on it. So I go there, and now I've got I forgot what the total was, but my groceries bill was like $50-something, and I've got 3 brand new $20 bills. I mean, they're I don't know, they're brand new, but they're very crisp, clean, flat, not a wrinkle in them, nothing. Put the first one in, takes it, fine. Put the second one in, pauses, kicks it back out. I'm like, huh? Okay, I flip it around.
Does that?
It goes, that, it's like, oh, no, I don't like it. So I put the next one in, and I flip it around, and then I put it back in, and it just goes right back out. So I put it in again, goes right back out. I take the third bill, it takes it right away. So now you got that the person that works for all the self-service, kind of keeps an eye on things, but they're nowhere to be found. So I'm just standing there. And, and then the little thing's talking to me. It's saying, please insert your money or whatever. So I'm looking, I see somebody, I wave to them. They come over, and I said, it won't take the $20 bill. I said, it's perfectly good. It won't take it. So she takes it out of my hand, like I'm not inserting it properly. And she puts it in. Right back out. She looks at me and says, oh, it doesn't want to take it.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks for that. Did you have to have training for that? Because I think I'm already doing your job. I'm bringing my own groceries. I'm already doing your job as it is, but the store is not paying me to do your job. So now she says, oh, it won't take it. So now she has to go over to the service desk. She gets another $20 bill, which I might add was in half of good a condition as that one, puts it in, the stupid machine just right away. And then you go to these other self-service, you know, you get bills all wrinkled and crinkled, and it takes it. So, but that's not the only thing. Then you got the self-service thing in the grocery store, and you got this little spot about 2 feet long. That's where you're supposed to put all of your groceries. Because you know what? When you set your bags there, and then you ring the case of whatever soda or pop through the scanner, now you set it down on the floor. Item not in bagging area. Item not in bagging area. Well, because there's no place to put it. So I don't put it in the bagging area. Guess what happens? Ding. Please wait for the attendant.
Now the criminal light goes off, right?
Well, yeah, no, and that just big old sign goes up. Please wait for your attendant. Are you serious? Hands up again. Yeah, she comes over. I says, not in the bagging area. Oh, that's okay. She takes and scans her card. I'm like, seriously? You know, and if you're doing much grocery shopping, they just got that little 2-foot spot to put all your stuff. Because, you know, God forbid, if you take it off of there and put it in your cart before you're done, item removed from bagging area. Item removed from bagging area.
Well, and they kind of force you to go through there because Walmart, who has 25 checkouts in their superstores, they've never used. Now they have, in the super Walmarts, they have, about 9 self-checkouts on each end, okay, with the 25 checkouts in between. Now, they have one checkout open. That checkout has, 15 people in line go through it. So you're like, okay, I can go bag it myself. So you're kind of forced to go there. But, you know, at the same time, Walmart is losing billions of dollars in theft from those self-checkout. Okay.
Yeah, well.
And there was an article a couple weeks ago about a woman who went through with $3,000 worth of electronics and only rang up $3.90. And they were watching her, so they caught her. But anyway, and it gave all the statistics of how much they're losing. But you would think if you're losing, billions of dollars in theft due to the self-checkout, wouldn't it be cheaper to pay a couple extra cashiers minimum wage?
Well, I guess that's one of the things, too, that always when they started these, because I go to the big hardware store or used to all the time, not as much anymore. And that's where I used them a lot. And I guess what really bugged me, part of it was, sure, if you've got a couple items and you don't want to wait in one of the other lines, yeah, it's more convenient. Yeah. But there, they might have, let me think, they've got 2, 4, 6, like 8 of those self-checkouts, right? And most of the time, one cashier open, one regular cashier. And I thought, okay, that's 8 people that don't have, that they don't have to employ. And I remember one time I went there and they had a big tape around the self-service section. Something was wrong with it. Duh. And something's always wrong with it. So anyway, there was a woman, one of the workers there, and she was telling people you can go over to this register and customer service is open. And I said, I hate those self-service things. And she worked there. And she goes, oh, believe me, I hate them. They never work. They're always breaking down. I hate them. See? And they're always, does anybody use paying with cash? Oh, because this one, only this one will take cash. Oh, only this one will take a credit card. I was like, oh my God, I guess you can have the self-service if you want them, but if you're going to do that, have plenty of regular cashiers too, I mean, if you want to use self-service, which like I said, sometimes it's very convenient, but it's not, when I go to the grocery store and I have a lot of groceries, I can't ring them through self-service as quick as they can,
Right. And like you said, they don't give you the
and people are constantly having problems with them. And, and like I said, they don't give you any place to put anything.
I have a lot of trouble with coupons, and they're always calling the cashier over.
I don't even do that there. I don't even want to go there with a coupon.
And
You know, and then
you can't get a lot of groceries. There's not enough room to put your bags.
and then when something does go wrong, you know, you get that sign up, wait for a tenant, and then people are looking at you like, okay,
oh, see, the
I know what
Walmart
I
here,
know what
that-
I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. It's not like I'm not
well,
tech savvy somewhat, because I am, but
right.
you know,
Well, you have a sign. We have a big, like a police light on top of it. Seriously, big round police light, and it stays green, flashing green until something goes wrong. Now it's ding, 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 flashes red, so everybody in the store can see it.
right. I'm surprised they
Seriously,
don't.
like a
I'm
police
surprised they don't
car.
have balloons come floating down and sirens and everything. It's like, you know, you win, you broke it. I don't know. You know.
And then the cashier comes over like, "You need me?
Yeah.
I need somebody because
Right.
my can of pineapple wouldn't go through."
That's
But
right.
yeah, I mean,
I guess sometimes, like
how
I
much
said,
research? I mean, I had to go back to Walmart because they're fairly new in the WalMarts here, and I just wonder the research. Now the other grocery stores have had them for years, and like you said, the Home Depot, Lowe's. I just wonder what research Walmart did before they like, okay, let's put these in. I mean,
well, yeah, they may have been a demand for them, and like I said, they figure they can move more people through, and they don't have to have as many people. Now, did you notice when you go there if there's any less cashiers? Because I guarantee you, more people that start using
there's
them.
only one cashier open out of 20.
Oh, there's only one regular cashier?
Yes, that's what I say. You're forced to go, and then all the people that are going through those.
That's what I'm saying, because and you know what? I'll bet you none of these stores said, "Hey, we're going to have you do the job for us." You know, that we normally pay people to do for you, because we're a service. We provide you a service, and but now we're going to not pay you to do the job that we pay everybody else to do. And we're going to save a lot of money, you know, because we have to employ cashiers. Are we going to suddenly drop our prices? I've never been in a place that it says our prices have dropped because we've just employed a lot less people as cashiers.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Now they have one cashier worker, right?
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so they force you to kind of go to the self-checkouts, right? If you want to get, because there's so many people in line. But here's the thing I was saying earlier. The article that I read, I forget it was in like close to $1 billion that Walmart has already lost due to theft with these self-checkouts. Are they saying that by losing $1 billion in a short period of time in theft is less cheap than hiring a few more cashiers and paying them minimum wage, which is what Walmart pays them?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to just hire some more cashiers than to lose, all that money in theft?
You would think. You know, right by the exit door. And anytime I went there, anytime I got in line, I knew they were basically the same kind of software and system as other ones I'd used at other stores. I didn't have problems, but people have problems with them, or something doesn't go through, or this or that. Anytime I went there, there was somebody. It's like, oh, it's not working. There was only 3 of them. Well, guess what? They don't have them anymore. And the same drugstore that's by where I work, they've never put them in, because of course they never have any cashiers working there either, hardly. But no, so I guess they had so many problems with them and people complaining. They want people to, that's part of the thing. Is you go to a store, you're paying these prices. It used to be it was somebody's job to ring you up and to bag it. And now you're basically, oh, you know what? I'm going to do the job that you all used to pay people for. I'll do it for free. That's okay. And I'm not going to get a reduction of price for doing it myself. It's all part of technology. I see in the future, I don't know when, and I'm being serious, there'll be stores that you walk into. There might be one person somewhere in a store. You won't see them. You'll walk in, you'll get what you want. You'll go to self-service. If it doesn't work, it'll be like, hey Alexis, or hey, whatever. My card's not working, and the machine will talk to you and it'll tell you what to do. And or you'll go to the hardware store and you'll say, I need a certain washer for this, and there'll be a little thing there, and you'll show it to them, and it'll say, that's a so and so washer. There won't be anybody in the stores because now you got, the whole trend is now you got all the little things in your house that you say, you ask them, what's the weather? What's the weather like out? The weather today is, 62 degrees. Well, stick your head out the door. There's your
No.
weather. I don't want that. It's like, come on, we've already gotten lazy enough where you just tap your phone and everything
Well,
happens.
you're talking about like Alexa, right?
Yeah.
But wait a minute. This is going to age us. Hey, we already know. But do you remember when we were younger? We had to actually remember calling the Weather Channel on the phone.
Oh yeah.
Call you today. Yeah. So is that any more like different than when we dialed a number?
No. I just want to be critical tonight. No. I love technology.
No, do you remember doing that though?
Sure. Yeah, you called. With the weather.
It was a certain number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to call it. Today's weather is. Yeah.
Oh, there wasn't there a number.
The time and temperature too. Remember?
Yeah.
We would have a number to call the time and temperature. So if we say, those people that use the Alexa, which my son does, and it's actually kind of cool. I mean, we not kind of lazy. We gotta call the time.
Yeah, I know.
Time it is. It would be time and temperature. Yeah,
I know.
It seems like so old school now, but yeah.
Yeah, and we did it with a rotary phone too.
A rotary phone.
Did it with a rotary phone.
Does anybody know what a rotary phone?
No, but don't you see that? I remember before technology. This was, I think, like 20 years ago. They were experimenting in Germany. They were already starting this. They had a bank there. And this was before everything was done digitally. So they were way advanced. And they had one person that worked in the bank. It was an experiment that they were doing. If you needed money or whatever, you did it all through the machines or computers. And they had one person there. And you even took out a loan, not talking to anybody, which now you can do that, online. There's a lot of ways to do it now. But basically, there wasn't any, you even had, if you remember the bank, you had to use a certain card for the door to unlock, so there was one person in there in this bank, and it was a big bank if you had, I guess, some type of a problem that you couldn't figure out. But they were experimenting with that, 20 years ago, that it was a totally self-service bank. And I truly believe eventually you will have stores that you walk in and you will do the shopping, you will do the self-serve, you'll never speak to anybody, because the technology is getting to the point where just like, asking Alexa this and that, where you will be able to ask that machine, it will fix it for you. It's like, this machine's not taking my card, and they'll say, this and that, and they'll reset it. Or, item not in bagging area. And then you say, well, I've got a big case of soda. And they'll say, well, put it up on the thing, stupid. And I'll be like, you're stupid, and then the next thing you know, oh yeah, I'll be kicking the machine and be calling it insults, and I say, well, you're stupid looking machine.
Oh then you get arrested, and now you go in front of the judge, and instead of like, well, I hit that cashier, they're like, you're charged with kicking a machine, 30 days, $1,000 fine. Yeah.
You won't see a judge. No. You'll be like, Alexis, what is my fine? You're fine today. Okay, so those were my two pet peeves. There's probably a lot more in the grocery store. Just by going to the grocery store. And so then after that, I had to go to the bank. And the bank that I go to is close to me, and it's a really small branch. It's just a little. It's one of the smaller branches. It always amazes me too because everybody I can remember going to the bank, the business that I worked for 20 years. I was the manager there, which I'm no longer anymore, but I was the manager. And so I did all the deposits, and the bank was right at basically at the corner of the street where I worked. And I would take deposits over and things like that. And there'd be, 3-4 tellers, 3 or 4 people in line. There was 2 desks in the middle that had people, that worked for the bank there. There were 2 or 3 small offices there. They all had people working there. You go over there now, and there's like 2 tellers. There's no desk in the middle anymore. Those 3 offices are dark, and there's one little office in the corner that a guy works at because everybody's doing it online. But anyway, so I go to this bank. There's 1 teller there, and this is a bank that I have used for years and years. There used to be, this was the same one I used at work, but there used to be always I think they had 5 teller windows there, and for years there were 4 or 5 tellers there, and they have 3 or 4 desks. When I went there that day, there was no one at any of the desks, and there was 1 teller. It's like you just walk in there, it's like a ghost town. So I go in there and I go to fill out my deposit slip and go to sign a check that I got and I had to deposit. And now I pick up the pen, which is on a secured cable. It's only about 10 inches long, this secured cable, because, you're not going to take our pen. We're a bank. We're a bank. We have a vault full of money, but don't you take our pen. So I pick up the pen. Of course, I've got to adjust it because it's only got, a little 10-inch cable on it. I go to write with it. Oh, no ink at all. And so, now there's one right next to it. Oh, okay, I'll use that pen. There's no ink in that pen either. But there were 2 people. But there were 2 or 3 people in line for this 1 teller. So now I'm just standing there. I'm like, I got no pen, and I tried to be polite. I wasn't going to run up to the teller window and go, you got a pen, So I'm just standing there. It's like you can't just have a little pencil holder there with some pens. You were so afraid. And I mean, this bank, they've always had pens. They've always had those cabled pens, they're like the best pens. You would think, they're just pens. These aren't handmade pens.
No, it's not like they're $20 a pen. Which they actually have those $20 pens, a pen. But anyway, no, there's this one smaller grocery store not far from me. And when you go to the office, I've dealt with them off and on over the years.
Right.
They have this real pretty little cup that someone made and put flowers on. And they have a whole container of pens. And they went a little extra, and someone glued pretty flowers on top of them. So they're actually, and you just pick up a pen and do whatever you got to do and put it back in that, So I mean, they can put a little pen holder and drop some pens in there. What is your average, 12-pack of cheaper pens? A couple bucks? No, I know what you're talking. That cable, you ain't taking it.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It's not even a great pen.
Well,
it's they're so afraid.
Well, and it's probably so intricate to get that pen, back on that cable that they're not changing them. They're like, I'm not messing with that. So they run out of ink.
Right.
They don't care. And you know what? I bet you eventually just find. Well, with me, I just dig through my purse, find my own pen, and that's what they're hoping for.
I would have dug through my purse if I had one. No, I'm just looking around, and finally I looked over there and I just walked across the bank and I saw one sitting on that guy's desk that was nobody there, and I took a pen and kind of just held it to the teller window. But I just thought, wow, that must be some great pen that you've got to cable it in there. Good thing I didn't need a paper clip.
Well, and speaking of things that piss us off, and you're talking about a bank. The last time I did any kind of transaction in a bank, because you don't need to now, obviously everything's automatic deposit, but I had to go and do this little transaction a couple months ago. And first of all, like you said, the banks are so little now, right?
Right.
There's
They're
nobody in
empty.
there when they're
Right.
empty. But they did have two tellers, right? So I go up and I'm like, yeah, I need to do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh. And they look at each other like, uh-oh. And they're like, well, the manager, he handles all that. And he's in a whole different city, 45 minutes away, right? I'm
Right.
like, when will he be back? Uh, well, we can call him. So they call him. He'll be back in
Mhm.
3 hours. I'm like, wait a minute. All I gotta do is sign off of this, right? I just sign off of something, right? Yeah, but he has to do it. Okay. So I go wait in the car, because they said he might be back before that. So he never came back. So I went back in. I'm like, there another bank we can go to? Someone can do this. Yeah, there's a bank on so and so road. Okay, now we're 35 minutes from that bank, but we drive 35 minutes away to another bank. And what I'm telling you is, all someone had to do is the transaction that we were trying to make is I had to sign a piece of paper, which, by the way, was not a piece of paper. They pushed that little box toward you, and it's just a black box. It has no line on it.
Mhm.
And they're like, just sign here. And I looked at it. Do I sign anywhere? Yeah,
Right.
just sign anywhere. Okay, just sign anywhere.
I
Okay,
got.
well, now when you get a copy of that transaction, the line for your signature is up here on the paper, and your signature's way down below. It did nowhere hit the line on the paper.
Right. They got one of those at my chiropractor now. I don't even know what. Yeah, I'm
The
just like
black box.
scribbling. Well, yeah, it's like these. It's like all this stuff. You get. I can't remember what we do now. Some of these. They're the little things on the counter, and
Yeah,
you do a credit card or something like that, and they want you to sign it. It's the size of an iPad or something. And sign with your finger. Before they had the pins up there,
your
and now
finger.
you got to sign with your finger. And I got so frustrated. And I'm like, what? Now I just put a line across there. I'm like, you want to challenge that as my signature? Give me something to sign. I
Yeah,
can't
because
sign
we
with my
learn
finger.
how to sign our signature with our finger. Sorry,
No, I wasn't taught that. Were you taught in school how to sign with your finger?
never had.
Maybe with watercolors. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so if it's not any good, well, then you know what? I'll use an ink pen. How about that? But yeah, now it's just they pushed up the black boxes, no lines on them.
Right. You don't know. Yeah, and you can't even tell what you can't see what you're writing. So God forbid what it looks like when.
I'll tell you what also they do that is the DMV. Which
Mm,
don't get me started about that,
mm,
people in the DMV, but I do have that on my list of talk. But they do that at the DMV now. Okay, you got to sign your signature, right?
mhm.
And it's a little black box. Okay, now when they give you your driver's, okay, my signature is not only way below the line, you can only see half of my signature on my driver's license because
Oh,
I
really?
had to sign in a little box that had no line.
I guess
So now I'm
I
serious. You have to really squint to see my signature on my driver's license.
I have to get mine renewed in about a year, so I can't
Well,
wait to
I'll just
do
say
that.
briefly since we're on it, it's not really a lot to accept. And does anyone else feel this way? Is there everybody at the DMV? They're just not friendly. They're
Well,
just not friendly. You
I
actually
think
see
that's
like a
kind of like a
criminal.
nationally known thing anymore. There's jokes made about D&D. I mean, it's just kind of
So it's
like
everywhere. Yeah.
I think it's everywhere. And I mean, when I was there the last time, and I go as little as I can, like most people do. The last time I was at the DMV was I had my license had gotten. I actually went to. I started to. I think it was voting day. I went to vote, and I pulled my license out, and it had cracked all over.
Oh
I was like,
wow.
oh my god! So I had to go to the DMV. Now the DMV near me, I walk in there, and it's huge. And there was probably, I mean, it was just row after row after row after row of people. It's like 4 o'clock. No, maybe it's about 3 o'clock. And I said to the guy who, you tell him why you're there so he gives you the right form to fill out or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, is it this busy all the time? He says, well, we have about an average of 200 people in here at most times during the day. I'm like,
Oh wow.
oh my God,
Do they give
So,
numbers where you are?
yeah, they got the numbers, B22, B36, all that stuff. And actually, I mean, I don't remember how long I sat there. I filled out the form, and it went pretty good. I probably sat there about 45 minutes. Around where I live, if you've got to do a major thing at the DMV, you better plan on a day. I mean, I've known
Oh wow.
people, they go to the DMV and they're going to, transfer tags or they got something with a car. They're there 4, 5, 6 hours.
Oh
It's like
wow.
a whole day's excursion, bring a picnic basket with you because you're going to the DMV. And you know what? She wasn't the person she wasn't mean or anything, but you never get those people, like you would in any other business where you walk up and they're like, I'm like, hi, how are you? How are you? Or they don't go, have a nice day. Of course, where I live, I don't think anybody says have a nice day. But, it's always just, everything is so methodical. It's like
Well,
they're
you
just
walk up
like
and they
they're
just look at you
expressionless.
like you have to explain why you're there. They don't
Right.
say anything. And then
No.
when you leave and you're done, as you're picking up all your paperwork, next. That's all you get.
Right. Next. And
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I can only imagine the times in my life I've been at the DMV. I must have to. I do have to say, in support of them, I can't imagine some of the people they have to deal with.
Oh, sure.
I mean, they probably deal with people every day. It's like, you know, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Yes, you know, all
Oh,
these
they're trying to
things.
get tags for a stolen car. I understand that, but don't judge everybody by that.
No, and it's just like it just seems like when you look along the line, either they just have to get into that whole mind frame of, very monotone. They're going to get people that are nice, people that are
Well,
bad.
it's
And
probably
so
compared to a police officer that they're so
right,
used to hearing every sub story out there
right.
that when you're telling them the truth, they're like, "Oh, here we go again," because
But
they've
you know
heard.
what? It would be nice just to walk up and when somebody is friendly to them and say, hi, how you doing? They could just be like, you know, how's your day going? You could say to them and they'd be like, oh, we're busy. No, it's sort of like, can I help you? Okay, now like you said, now you got to explain why you're there.
Yeah,
And then they just sit there, tap away
they
on their
just keep
computer.
going it. Yeah, they don't say, here, sign for insurance. Okay, and they take that paper, and then when you're all
Eh,
done, all you hear is next. That's your cue to get out of there.
Yeah, and then I just had the thing of I told you about it, where normally I always got the renewal. I just got my tags renewed, and I always got that renewal notice really way in advance. Last year, I got my tags were due at the end of February, and last year I got it like mid-December. It gives you people if they're out of town plenty
Right,
of time. Here
right.
where I live, you have to get the emissions every 2 years and all that. So it gives you time. So I always try to do it the first day off I can, go get my emissions. That way, if there is something wrong, I got plenty of time, you know. So I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and still nothing. I thought, well, I know I have to get the emissions. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And then, of course, that's automatically sent to the DMV. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm waiting for this renewal notice because I just do it online anyway. So I go get my emissions done. They do, and I go a little later that day and I go online and I renew the tags and everything's fine. And 3 days later, I got my tags. Very efficient, very quick. Okay, it's great. 2 weeks later, well, no, it was just like last week. So it was, yeah, it was like 3 weeks. Well, I did the tags like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And just last week, I got a renewal notice for my tags. Now, I'm not getting that. Wouldn't the computer have shown, oh, he's already renewed his tag? I even went online to make sure, even though I had the stickers on my car, I'm like, I hope I don't go online and now it says, I'm still, my tags are, no, I mean, everything was fine. But, but that didn't really make me mad. I just thought either something with their computer system, because their computer system already showed my tags were renewed. Why were they now sending me, unless it was just delayed the way they were spit the things out or whatever,
Yeah, they just smell them out. Nobody's ready.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking that's the first time since I've had a driver's license that I've never gotten a renewal notice. And then I eventually got it, but it was just a lot later than I normally do. But no, I mean, nobody likes going to the DMV. First of all, nobody knows what they're doing when they get there. I mean, I go in there, it's like, okay, I need to do this. Oh, here's a form, fill it out, and then you go up to the window. Can I help you? Well, yeah, I need to, do this and I do that. Tap, 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 on the computer, and then they never say another word to you.
No.
Can I see your ID? Yeah, there's my ID. Tap, 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 tap. Yep. And then
I mean, they are a cool group of people. I mean,
well, yeah, they are. But I mean, I wouldn't want that job. I can only imagine where I live.
I wouldn't want to be cold to everybody.
Not only that, where I live, like I said, I'm pretty much in the city. They deal with every people just from all over the world, and so many. In fact, I'm a minority, pretty much almost a minority where I live. A lot of those people are here recently. They have trouble speaking English, things like that, and so I'm sure they have to, they have to deal with all.
Well, like I said, you have people going in the DMV trying to get tags for a car that's not theirs, or a car that's stolen, or they don't have a title to the car. They can't give you a plate, like, well, it's my car though. I mean, I've heard some of the people, ahead of me, and they do have to hear every rip-off story.
Right.
So I'm sure they get a little bit of an attitude. I'm just gonna wait to see what you're gonna say.
Right.
How about when you're finished and you've been okay and done everything right? How about just thank you?
Well, and how many times do they probably get? And it might happen to me too, where people don't, let's say they lost their driver's license or whatever, or it expired, and they don't bring the proper ID.
Yeah, they bring no ID.
Well, we need a birth certificate. Oh, you do? Well, I don't have a birth certificate. I don't know where my birth. Well, we have to have a birth certificate. If you can't get your license, that's like, what? I can't get my driver's license. I remember I worked with somebody. She went through a nightmare. Her license had expired and she didn't realize it. I guess she didn't get maybe a notice or something. Anyway, it expired. She went there and they said, well, I'm not sure I'm going to tell the story exactly right. But anyway, she goes there and they said, well, we need a birth certificate. So she gives them a birth certificate, right? They said, well, we need a picture ID.
Oh, well.
She says, well, I have my driver's license, but I lost it. Well, do you have another form of ID with your picture on it? She says, no. Says, do you have a military ID? No. Do you have a passport? No. This was probably about 15 years ago. Do you have well, basically it came down to, she wasn't in the military. She didn't have a passport. She wasn't here, on a visa. Oh, do you have a student ID? She's like, I'm 45 years old. I'm not a student. I don't have a student. So she wasn't a student. She wasn't here on a visa. She wasn't in the military, and she didn't have a passport. And she left there crying. They would not give her a license. I forgot what she had to do.
Right.
So she says, well, I guess I'm going to have to get a passport. Right. So she went to get a passport, but she didn't have a driver's license.
Same thing.
She didn't have a picture ID. It was like, I forgot the nightmare she went through, to get it. But she was in tears when she left there. And this is somebody who was born here, She was like about 45 years old at the time. She'd been driving since she was 16. And basically,
But you almost understand that. They can't give you, what if she was over here illegally?
but what do you do? What do you do
What
if
if she
you're?
was a murderer? And
But what do you do if you don't travel? You don't need a
Right.
passport. If you're not a student
Right.
and you're
No,
not
I
in the
know.
military, and what other kind of picture? Most people I know, they have a driver's license. That's their picture
That's
ID.
it.
What
That's
other
it,
kind
yeah.
of picture ID are you going to have?
That's it,
It's like, can I bring my portrait? Here's a family picture. Will this work? Here's a picture of me and my dog. How's that? Is that
Do
good?
you ever know what happened? Like, did she ever get
She
it?
eventually got it. I don't remember what she went through, but I mean, she said it was a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's just I realize, and especially now, it's getting worse and worse because now I started to send some, and the phone thing was messed up. It was the service was working, but there was something where I use it. It's like automated with a phone. And the cord was it was obvious. I talked to the manager and they were gonna have to call him because it was just like a little plug-in phone cord where it plugs into the receiver was cracked or something because it kept breaking up. So I thought, okay, well, I'll go around the corner. I'm gonna go to MoneyGram, and I go there. Well, now I started doing the whole thing, and which I don't understand because they do all this stuff where they'll ask you what city is the money going to, and so you say it. This is all like voice activated when you first call.
Yeah.
What is your date of birth? You give them your date of birth. How much are you sending, and use the star symbol as a decimal point. And then so they ask you all these questions, right?
Right.
Now a customer service person gets on the phone. What is your birthday?
Oh.
Where is the money going? Who are you sending it to? Every single question that they ask, the person asks me again. I'm like, are you serious here? Then he says, what is your driver's license number? I said, what? You want my driver's license number? When did that start? Oh, this just start. I said, when did that start? I said, so I don't have my driver's license with me. He says, hold on 1 minute. Comes back, he has all transactions, I have to have a driver's license number. I'm like, I was like, okay, hold on. Now I just pretend like somebody's getting it. Wait a second. So now I give him my driver's license number. Now I'm right there, and then you just go to the cashier, and it shows up on the computer, right? Now she says, can I see your driver's license? I'm like, oh my God. But meanwhile, that's I have a problem with, I don't know where this customer service person is. I don't know what country he's at because, that's a worldwide service. I understand that. It's like Western Union. They send all over the world. And the guy could speak English, fine. But he had a very strong accent. And then there was just enough background noise in the store to kind of deflect a little bit. So, and it's got a little switch on the phone so you can turn it up louder, And my hearing's not as good anymore. I'm aging myself again. And so I got to turn the phone little switch all the way up. And I had to say 2 or 3 times, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. And I said again, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Then he said it again. I said, I'm sorry, and he said something again. And he was asking me for my birthday. And for whatever reason, I said it 3 times to him. Now he starts getting irritated. I'm like, you know what? Wait.
Well, was it because of his accent? Strong accent?
Yeah, it was because he had a very strong accent. Maybe the phone was a little bit, a little background. Maybe it's my hearing a little bit. But a lot of times, if somebody, at least for me, if they can speak English fine, but they have that very strong accent, sometimes it's hard for me to understand. And I know, I I never criticize people who speak English from a foreign country because I give them a lot of credit. I could never learn a foreign language. I've tried. I just can't do it. So I work with people from foreign countries, and I always praise them because I could never learn a foreign language.
Right. Right.
I'm just
Well, no, I don't think you're
really, I don't
criticizing
have a brain
other-
for it. So I do give people a lot of credit. But sometimes, yeah, they have a strong accent, and it's hard sometimes. So anyway, but that isn't what bothered me. Because most people, most of the time anymore, most of the places I've called customer service, whether it be with my phone company, whether it be a computer, whatever, you're getting somebody that's from a different country. My problem was he's getting irritated with me because I can't understand him. I'm like, I'm doing the best I can. And, that just kind of.
Oh, I've had that before, and I just eventually say, can I talk to someone who speaks better English?
Right.
I mean, again, we're not criticizing their ethnic background, but if you can't understand them, then you can't understand them.
Right.
And
Right.
so I've several times had to say, could I speak to someone who speaks better English? And then
Right.
someone gets on there that speaks better English. I think a lot of people, when they're calling a credit card company or, you can't understand them. And it's not saying anything bad, except you can't understand them.
Well, I'll never forget years ago when I got my first computer, and I won't mention the brand. I got my first computer, and I didn't know anything about computers then, years ago. And, they were a lot different then. And I would have some problems with it here and there, so I would call the company. Well, one time, and this was years ago, so that's when they would even give you a disk to reinstall Windows. That came with the new computer, a whole Windows reinstall disk. So the guy says, you got a virus or something like that. And he's, he had a foreign accent, but I could understand him okay. And he says, we're going to have to reinstall Windows. I said, okay. He says, but at that time, it's going to take about 3 hours. So he says, and then he says to me, I'm not picking up on it then because there wasn't a lot of talk about it on TV and stuff. He goes, what time is it there? Well, it was about 8 o'clock at night, I think. And that's all he said. He says, okay, well, someone else, may take over, but just let it go through its thing. And then in a couple hours, someone will call you, and then they will take over and help you get this installed. Well, I wasn't even thinking the person was calling me from, or I was calling somebody, in another country. And that's why he was saying, what time is it there?
Right.
Well, and then I saw a thing on like 2020 or something like that, where a lot of these people who work for like computer companies and stuff, I don't know how they set them up, they would just be sitting in their living room.
Right.
And they would have a headset on with the manuals and all that, and you're just, that was sort of their office. That's where they did the technical support, was from their living room, which is, good for them. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, but I remember a couple of times calling, and now you're doing something, like I said, when I was new to computers 20 years ago or whatever, where you don't really understand it anyway. And now you've got somebody with this really strong accent using all these terms and saying, click on blah, 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 and click on blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? What? I can't understand you. What? I almost blew up my computer a couple of times doing that because, I mean, but yeah, it gets frustrating, when people do that. But so that's a little. Well, I guess I went back to the thing of when I brought up the driver's license, because now with a lot of things, if you buy a gift card, it's Christmas time. You want to buy somebody a nice little gift card. You've got a relative graduating from high school. I'm going to get them a gift card. You go and get the gift card, and they scan it, and they go, can we see your driver's license? What? Now you want my driver's license on file? Well, some places have a limit. But when that first happened, I said, No, you can't. Why do you need my driver's license? And he flips the computer screen around and it says customer ID required. I'm like, and I think it was I think the gift card was like $100, something like that. And I was like, what? And he says, well, it won't let me do the transaction until I scan your driver's license. I said, never mind. I just laid it on the counter. So some places have like, it might be a $200 or $100 or a $300 or $500 anything after that, they want to scan your driver's license. And I think it has to do with something to do with like, I don't know, drugs or whatever. Okay. Illegal drug. I don't know. So I looked online and there were all these people, complaining about it. One guy said he went into a drugstore and he wanted like a $25 or a $50 like Amazon gift card or something like that. And they wanted to see his driver's license. And he said it very well. He said, I was just going in to buy a gift card to give as a gift, and now I feel like a criminal.
Right.
Well, we got to scan your driver's license and keep that on file. What?
No, that's exactly what they're making you. I mean, if you get they don't, as far as I know, they don't ask for your.
If you get a what? You went
a money order.
Oh yeah. Well, that'll be next.
That'll be next.
I mean, they're going to start. Probably they're going to start taking your picture. Everything else. But I guess I don't know the exact reason they do it. I mean, but I know like, certain prescriptions are over-the-counter drugs now. I went one time for my boss and she needed an allergy medicine.
Oh,
and she says, you're going to have to show your driver's license. So, I get the little thing off the counter. I go up there and they see my driver's license and they scan it. Okay. And okay, they have a reason for doing this, but my point is that I feel like I'm going to get some allergy medicine, or I want to buy a gift card, or I just want to send somebody, I'm sending somebody some money, $50 or whatever. It's like, oh, we need all this ID on you.
Well, back to the sinus medicine. The reason for that is they put that when they make methamphetamine. So you can only buy that twice a year. That's why you have to get.
Well,
but here's the thing. If you're someone that gets allergies or sinus, I forget which one it is, and you get that, you're someone prone to get that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go get the medicine more than twice a year because that's what people. That's one of the items they use to make meth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you have these reasons that they do this, but then it's like the people, the honest people like you and me, that are just trying to buy some allergy medicine, send somebody a little bit of money, buy a gift card for somebody, try to be nice, and no, you're treated like a criminal. Oh, because of
right.
all this other stuff going on.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to. But
maybe drug dealers out there, people that buy drugs from out of the country or whatever, maybe they use gift cards, but that shouldn't fall back on the people that don't.
Right. That's my point. It's like this stuff people are doing stuff illegally, and so everybody else basically now is prime target. Same thing. So, it's sort of like, well, we won't go there tonight, but, yeah.
You can go anywhere you want.
I know. No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go with,
because no one's asking any questions or putting it
airline security. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there with that. Not tonight. Maybe another time we'll go with airline security. Maybe but. But then if I say anything and this gets out there, I'll be put on the do not fly list.
There goes all you.
Yeah, there goes all my travel around the world.
You and I strongly, not strongly, but we disagree on. So that might be a little nice thing to talk about.
Yeah, that might be something in the future we can talk about. But I mean, I'll just say this real quick. with the things that have happened with the 9/11 and stuff like that, you do. I know they have to have security. I know they put things in place, but I'm just saying, all the people that go through, the last time I flew, you feel like a criminal. You feel, you got to take your shoes off, take your belt off. Oh, don't put two of those in one pan. What are you doing?
Right.
And it's like, so yeah, you feel like a criminal.
Speaking of that, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but when one of my sons were flying using airline, and I don't know if he was just nervous. I think he said he had to walk a long way to get there, whatever. So he goes through the scanner, and the X-ray part, and they call him off to the side, and they're like, I forget the exact thing what they said, but what you got on you or whatever, and he's like, nothing on me. Well, his whole back was showing on the X-ray machine. It was showing darker. So they're like patting him down, like, what do you have on you? Your whole back is showing too dark. And I don't know how much he went through. I forget. I'd have to ask him. But long story short, he was sweating. And the sweat, and so the back of his shirt was wet from sweat.
Right.
And it was picking it up as dark. But they took him aside and was making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, but when I went through, I was sending my mom across the country, and my mom was, I think, about 88 years old then. My mom we had her in a wheelchair, and so my sister had arranged so that I could go through security with her. I got a little pass that I could go through with my mom and wait at the gate with her. And and I had like a Bluetooth in my ear. Oh God, there was a big no. I forgot that I had the Bluetooth in my ear. And I think I had like a little iPod in my pocket, and I was just gonna sit there and maybe listen to something like that, while I was waiting. And so I set my wallet and my keys in a pan, and I started to go through, and the woman's like, "Take out the Bluetooth. Take that thing out of your ear." I was like, "Oh, sorry." And I just go to set it in the pan with I go to set it in the pan with a wallet, a set of keys, put it in a separate pan. Oh my God. And now I've got to go, and now I've got to get a full body X-ray.
Oh God.
Put your hands.
Bluetooth could have been, a bomb.
It could have been. It would blow my head off, but yeah, it could have been. No. So then we wheel my mom. Now, this was, the airport wheelchair. Now we wheel my mom through, and now here's my mom, like 88 years old, sitting in the wheelchair. Here comes the wand. Man, they're wanding my mom up and down. They're going up under that wheelchair. It's your wheelchair, And yeah, my mom was 88 years old. They're patting my mom down, and searching her purse. My mom's very uncomfortable. I realize they got to do what they got to do, but some discretion should be like.
Well, yeah. But yeah. I mean, but if they stop doing that,
I know. I just don't
like, let's take the 88-year-old woman and put a bomb on her.
I know. I just don't know what. Yeah. I know they're doing their job. I understand that, and I know that we have to put security in place. Because
but you said it best to me. Talked about it. Where does it stop? If someone puts, like the guy put a bomb in his shoe, so now all shoes have to come off. Or what if someone goes through and they have a bomb in their underwear?
Right.
I mean, really, do all underwear come off?
Right. If if a woman has a bomb in her bra, do all the women now have to go through and somebody sticks something up their butt? Do we have to have cavity searches for? I mean, where does it end? That's the thing.
Right.
I mean, I think there ought to be well, you know what? One day maybe they'll invent something. It'll just be like, it'll be like the scanner that just scans over everybody as they walk through, and it just, and if you don't have something, you get blown up. I don't know.
And I was probably about 8 or 9, probably about 9. and I was in oh God, I can say I was in Pennsylvania, and we were flying. My cousin was flying his daughter back to where she lived, and so me, my dad, my grown cousin and his daughter, we all went to the Pittsburgh airport. And I just think, how different. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
we not only walked through that airport because his daughter was like 5 years old, and we not only walked through the entire airport, we all walked on the plane.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
And got his little girl situated and stuff.
I was in
and
the
I was, I'm standing around this plane, and wait a minute. So from the time I was 9 years old, 40 some years ago, until 9/11, we didn't have anything, thank God, but go wrong in an airplane. Look how long it took.
Right.
From that time where we were just allowed to walk on the plane until 9/11.
Well,
So that
my
in
dad,
between time, nothing happened.
I mean, when I was young, I flew quite a bit because, as you know, my dad worked for the airlines, so we got to fly. And oh yeah, you would go on. Not only that, the pilots, would let sometimes young people come up into the cabin
Yeah.
to see them, how it worked. And my father, who was an aircraft mechanic, used to always say, it's crazy. They have these doors on the cockpit. They're these little flimsy metal. They weigh about 5 ounces, this whole door. And he used to always say, that's ridiculous. That ought to be a good secured door. They were these real things.
And he knew that years ago.
Oh yeah, he knew that years ago. Now, they did that. But they used to. I remember my brother. My brother loved, airplanes and rockets and all that. And the pilots, they would let my brother come up there and look at all the controls in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And you could come up there. You could bring 50 people if you wanted to, just to hang out with you just before you got onto the plane. We spent I spent many hours as a kid in the airport because we were able to fly on passes and fly really, really cheap. So, I mean, and of course, my father, coming from the really old school, when we used to fly when I was a kid, then it was flying was like a privilege. It was people dressed up to fly.
Oh, wow.
When people went on an airline, people dressed it was a privilege to be able to fly, like back in the 60s and stuff. Well, I'm really dating myself now, so people can figure out how old I am. So, I was young, and and because my father was an airline,
You still sound young.
Oh, I just stopped aging. I stopped in time.
I know you, so you're very young. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. But no, because my father worked for the airlines, he represented the airlines, and we had a dress code. My father was required to wear a suit and tie.
Oh, wow.
My mother and sister were required to wear dresses. And my brother and I were required to wear a dress shirt and dress slacks if we flew on a plane because we represented the airlines.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. But people dressed up nice, because, like I said, it was a privilege to be able to fly. Now, and my dad used to get so mad, he'd be like, yeah, now it's nothing but like a big old bus station. People just dress up, he came from real.
Well, yeah, for people now that fly as casual and comfortable as they can.
Well, yeah, because they don't give you any food or anything. They don't give you nothing.
And flip-flops. If people want to dress comfy and short.
No, it's changed. It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. And I haven't flown for a few years, but I mean, I'm not really all that interested because it used to be.
When I walked on that plane when I was 9 years.
Well, not only that, it used to be, let's say your plane was leaving at 1 in the afternoon. You get there at noontime, go to the ticket counter, check your bags, get your boarding pass, and, or you get there at 12:30. If there wasn't a long line, walk up there, get your ticket, get your boarding pass, check your suitcase, walk over there, and you and 20 of your best friends could just sit and wait till the plane until they board the plane.
Right.
Now it's like, let's see, your plane's leaving at 1. I mean, my boss and I flew to Florida a few years ago for a seminar, and the airport was like, and they'd redone this whole airport. The airport was like 45 minutes away. I forget what time our plane left. I got over to our house around 11, I think. Then she drove. We drove to the airport. We had to figure our way around the airport because it was an airport quite a ways out. And so we got there. We had to figure out parking and everything. We get in there. We had to maneuver our way through the airport. And we got there 2 hours before the flight, which is what they said, 2 hours before the flight. And then there was a little bit of a delay for whatever reason. And then the flight was a nonstop, and it was about 2.5 hours. So by the time I left the house, got to the airport, it was a 5.5, 6 hours to get to a 2-hour flight.
Well, yeah,
before, you used to drive to the airport, run up to the ticket counter, and get your boarding pass and check your luggage, or if you need to check it, and run to the plane. But now with security and all that stuff, and they want you there all this time, it's just so much more of a hassle. And because air travel is just so busy, and then after 9/11 and fuel prices and all that stuff. I remember when I was young, I went to Las Vegas with my dad, and I was going to be 21. And he said, after you're 21, you can't get passes anymore. So he says, there's someplace you'd like to go. Because basically at that time, I don't know how it works now, when I flew on passes, I basically were paying the price of the tax, because I remember when I was 13 or 14, we flew to Hawaii, and it cost each one of us kids like $50 because that was the tax on the ticket.
Right.
So anyway, so I said, well, I'd like to go to Las Vegas. I've never been to Las Vegas. So anyway, we went to Las Vegas for 2 or 3 days. And when we came back, we were, I think, going from Las Vegas to Denver and then home. And it was a 740. This shows how it was a 747. Those things seat like 300 people or whatever. There was 35 people on the flight because it was at night. It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And now, most of your flights are booked because they changed everything, and they cut back flights, and they fly all over and get more passengers and all this stuff. So now all your flights are crowded, they're overbooked and everything else. Well, when I was younger, I remember how many times when I was younger and we would fly somewhere. Oh, there was just a little handful of people on a big jet,
Well, yeah, look how they
I don't think you find that anymore. You don't find that anymore. They're all packed.
Look how they overbooked that plane a year or so ago and dragged that doctor off.
Right.
Because they had overbooked and he had to get out of there. Yeah.
Right.
Or you hear someone like, "Oh, I got to be at the airport at 6:30. Oh, when's your flight? 2 o'clock."
Yeah. It's just become it's just much more of a hassle, and it's not something.
Well, yeah, you have to go early because of all the check-ins.
Right. All the check-ins, security. Yeah. So that's well, that wasn't really a pet peeve, was it? Were the airlines a pet peeve? No, the airlines weren't. No, we got off on.
We kind of got into the security of it. That's like,
well, we're just talking about how they want, so much information on every little thing that you do now, and I don't know. I just feel like everybody is. Well, I mean, all your information's out there anymore anyway. People say, well, I don't buy anything on the computer because I don't want my credit card number out there. Really? Your credit card numbers out there.
Yeah, everything's out there.
Because when you go to the drugstore and you stick your credit card in that machine, guess what? It goes through the internet.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it all goes through servers and everything. Your stuff's out there. You know,
Everything.
Your social security number. Oh, forget that. That's out there. You know, every thing you hear. You know, oh, there's a breach on this. There's a breach on that. You know, I was one of those that was one of the people that the big insurance company got hacked. And so, yeah, that I don't know if I was a victim, but I was not notices that that insurance company was hacked and millions of people possibly had their. So there's my social security number, and that's another thing. While we're talking about that, because one of the things is if somebody gets your social security number, they can wipe out your bank account. They can do all this stuff. Now, I realize they use a social security number for your ID, or you could have some other kind of ID number. But when it comes to bank and your money, why is it they have to use your social security number? Why can't you just have, your ID for the bank number? When you want to take out a loan, that's your ID, your number. You keep it in a little place at home, whatever, in your file with your bank account. And then that way, if somebody got your social security number, they can't touch your bank account. I don't think it'd be that hard.
But then it would be, now they're trying to hack that number that you.
Well, but they hack banks all the time. I even heard somebody on one time talk about it. They said if most people knew how many times banks were hacked, they wouldn't put their money in there. They just don't. They don't publicize it.
I know.
But I'm saying if they get your social security number, they can go into your bank account. They can take out loans. They can do this. But that's one thing. That's one place that, somebody can ruin your life completely by wiping out your savings account. Why do they have to go by your social security number in a bank as an ID? Why don't they just have your own personal ID number for the bank? Yeah, if they hack the bank, they get that. But I'm talking about they get your social security number where they're doing all this other stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
Why can't a bank has all your money? And that's one of the things people are concerned about the most. Why can't the banks just have an ID number? That's, you have a bank account number, but this could be your ID number for the bank. There you go. They could even mail you a little card, put in plastic, put a little friendly picture of the bank and go, hi, we're your friendly bank, and here's your new ID number. We're no longer using your social security number on your account. I would shop at that bank. I would definitely go to that bank. I'd move all my money, all my, few dollars out of the bank, and I would put it in that bank if they did that.
How hard would it be for the credit card companies to put a picture on your credit card? It doesn't prevent online, but it prevents anybody ever using your credit card if they find it.
Well, the only problem with that would have worked a few years. I remember there was a commercial. I forget what credit card company it was, and it was some actor that used to always do the commercials. But anyway, they did. It was the only company I ever saw that they would show at the end of the commercial your credit card, and it had
your wallet.
Yeah, I think it was that one. But anyway, they had a picture. I thought that's a great idea. Yeah. But now, even if you have the picture, you never give your credit card to anybody. See? So when you go to the store, or you go to anywhere, the grocery store, the hardware store, the drugstore, you just insert your chip in.
That's right. So how about asking for your driver's license? Because when you used to write checks, you could not use a check anywhere unless you gave them your driver's license.
Well, see, they want to make everything more convenient. But by making it more convenient, then security becomes, because sure, if I drop my credit card on the ground, somebody can go and in no time, they can ring up, all kinds of sales with that, because you're not handing it to somebody. You're not even having to, like, you go to the gas station or anything like that, or you go online, and do stuff. I mean, I've had my credit card number hacked a few times, and it's never, it's inconvenient. And the credit card companies have always been great, and they're like, you're not responsible, and they'll send you a little form, and so many people know, and you fill it out, and it goes to the fraud department and things like that. But yeah, it can be kind of a little bit of a hassle, but they don't charge me, but and that's somebody that got my credit card.
It's
I'm
still,
sure
you
off
don't like it.
online.
You don't like the oh God, they got my credit card number. You don't.
No, I
That's
don't like
silly.
it. I don't like it.
And you
Yeah,
just hope that they put the effort in to catch them.
yeah, yeah.
They
Well,
don't
and
tell you about it, but
I think no, they never tell you about it. I think some of the stuff, would be, the first time it ever happened to me, it was somebody. And see, they didn't order something to be delivered to their house. They did that. That'd be real easy. You just got to go in
right.
and you say to the fraud department, well, where did that, where did that purchase go to? No, somebody bought some type of software for like gaming. First time it happened to me. And so, they used my credit card number. They downloaded the software for the game. And then, that's all. Well, to me, that seemed pretty easy because you see where that game went to and what IP address it was going to. Boom. That's pretty much will get you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I never heard anything, Another one, they had charged they charged like, I forgot, a couple $1,000 on a TV for one of the big stores. And I happened to be in there, and I said to the person, I said, what's your policy? I kind of felt funny. I was afraid the guy was going to think I was trying to figure out how to do it. I said, somebody took my credit card and they bought like $2,000 or $3,000 or charged $2,000 or $3,000 online. They bought a huge big screen TV and something else. And I said, how do they do that? And they said, well, if it's for a store pickup, he said, then they have to come in, they have to bring their driver's license as an ID, and they have to present the credit card that they charged it with. So I thought, well, that's pretty good, because that way, if they just stole your number, they're not going to have the credit card, and your ID is going to match. But that was basically a pending charge, and it never went through because they couldn't pick it up. But yeah, I mean, I've had it done. I try to be very careful online, but people get your numbers out there all over the place. It's on every site. If you've bought something, it's on every site. Your Social Security number is on every time you go to the doctors or go to a new doctor. Got to have your Social Security number. Oh, that used to make my dad so mad. He was just like, Social Security number wasn't designed for that. It was designed for when you get, when you retire and get your Social Security. Now it's just, your ID, but, we're just a big ID number. But if it wasn't your Social Security number, you'd be assigned some other major ID number for everything. And but I think they need to do a different way. I think that you shouldn't have to use Social Security number that basically identifies you everywhere you go. There has to be a better way to do it. And like I said, with banking, they don't need your Social Security number. Maybe when you apply for a loan or something like that, they could check it. They don't put it on file or whatever. But you have an ID number.
But your ID number now would become almost like your Social Security.
But that would, yeah. I mean, but I'm saying just for a bank, where keep your money.
Yeah.
If they get your Social Security number, they become you. They can take out loans. They can do everything. Credit cards one thing, but they get your.
God forbid they take all my money.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel. So. But it's I guess the more it's like technology is like it's great, and I love technology, but it's one of those things. It's like the more that everything, of course, is done online, then the more everything security risk.
Well, and things are getting for lack of a better word, they're getting too crowded, and so that's why we will eventually have the chip. and then it's not so crowded. Everything's not, there's not so much in the computer. There's not so, because now you are the computer. You are your own identity.
Right.
And the word chip will come in, and it will eliminate everything.
Well, sure, and they'll say, come on, don't you want the chip? Nobody can steal your ID anymore unless they,
Right.
No, you know what people will be doing? They'll be going cutting people's arms off and stuff. Yeah, I got the chip now. They'll cut your arm off. I'll just use your arm. No, I mean, they'll promote it like this.
Well, they'll also promote it like they want to put it in newborns. Oh, if you put it in your baby and someone steals your child, we can be right on it, and within a few minutes, we'll find them, and that would certainly be me.
Well, yeah, there would be benefits to it. There would be benefits to it if you never had to carry your driver's license anymore. You didn't have to carry, all this stuff, Nobody could steal your ID because everything that you do, maybe when you got a computer at home or whatever, you just wave your arm over a special thing that reads your chip, all this stuff.
Well, even when you're doing online shopping, now you have something, they now have
chip
the
reader.
Just chip reader. Your own arm, yeah.
Right, but they can also do a lot of other things with that chip. And that's I think.
Well, they'll know every move you make. That's the mark of the Bible talks about. Chip is the mark.
Because they'll say you won't be able to purchase, buy, sell, bank. You won't be able to do anything.
Well, the Bible says you will die. And what we used to think is, there's going to be some 666 on our arm, and get it, they're going to kill you. No, the mark of the beast the Bible talks about is the chip that's coming. And no one's going to kill you if you get it. But you won't be able to survive in this world without it.
You won't be able to buy anything because we're slowly going to a cashless society.
Right.
No,
the chip is the mark of the.
Yeah, you won't be able to buy anything. You won't be able to go and do a transaction at a bank. You won't be able to do anything.
You won't be able to buy food. You won't be able to go to the doctor if you don't have this chip. So that's how you'll die. You won't survive.
Right.
Because we don't take money. So if you don't have,
I heard a few years ago they were experimenting. They were putting these chips in some of the soldiers, so they could basically, if the soldiers were out in the battlefield, they would know everything about them. They could know their blood pressure. They could know everything that was going on with that soldier. Yeah, his pulse rate, his heart rate, everything by that little. I mean, it's amazing to me, that they can even do this stuff. I saw something one time on TV. I don't remember if it was the computer or the circuit board, and the woman said, "I have to look at a microscope to see it."
Wow.
So, you figure if you've got a chip in you, they can do all these things, and it's the size of a piece of rice. Imagine how little everything has to be. All of the circuitry, all of the everything, and that thing the size of a piece of rice.
Right.
Think how tiny the people have to be that build it. Really, really little people. Really little people.
Little people, smaller than a grain of rice, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they just shrink those people down.
Yeah.
And then they just build that little thing. And
so what's another any more pet peeves?
Well, it comes back to the technology, because I think you told me a story, and somebody had told me a story where they went through a drive-through, and anyway,
like a restaurant drive-through.
Yeah, a fast food drive-through, and they wanted like a cheeseburger and a large drink or something, and so they went through the drive-through. And so they said on the speaker, take a cheeseburger and, large Coke, whatever. And anyway, they got up there, and now the guy says, "I'm having a problem with my computer," or whatever. My computer went out, and I don't have a screen. And the guy says, "Well, I have bills and change. How much is a cheeseburger?" And the guy was like, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, how much is the drink?" And the guy's like, "I don't know." Like, what do you mean you don't know? Well, my computer's down. Well, I mean, this person was, running hundreds and hundreds of people a day through the drive-through, but he didn't even know how much a cheeseburger was because everything on that screen, nothing had a price on it. It's just pictures.
Pictures. Yeah.
Pictures of a cheeseburger, picture of a
Whopper,
number two, picture of a large drink, and
Right.
then after they tapped all those pictures, then it gave them a total. So, he didn't even have to know how much anything was. And he didn't know. And he
They
couldn't
don't.
even, this guy couldn't pay for his food. He couldn't
No,
even hand the money. So, I mean, the technology is great, but then when it doesn't work, your power goes out. Forget about going into the store and saying, I need
Right.
this, cough medicine or whatever. It's $5.50. I have the $5.50. Oh, we can't sell it to you. Why? Well, because our computers don't work. But
Yeah.
why? I'm giving you the money. Oh, well, because when we scan that also inventories it and everything else, and I need to scan it. Well, I have the money. I know, but the computers don't work. Or
Right,
if they
they can't
do,
do it.
the computer needs to tell me how much change to give you back because I don't know how to count.
No,
You
and
know?
it's almost not their fault because when you're hired in these places, you don't have to know how much of it. You just have to know what it is.
Right. But you know what? You ever seen people anymore? They don't know how to count you back change. Oh,
Well, no,
this
they
is
don't.
$3.30. I give you $4. I kind of look at you like,
They
well,
do
that would be, yeah. I mean, but we come from
because the
old,
register tells them how much change to give you.
right?
It's like
I know.
you go in Walmart, everything's scanned by the
Well, yeah.
UPC, and then you push total, and it gives you your total and your change, how much you give them back in change. So they don't have to know.
Well, yeah. Nobody knows how
They
to.
never
Nobody
count
needs.
that change.
Well,
They just
nobody
scan
needs
it.
to know how to count anymore. You have calculators. You carry a calculator in your pocket all day. You have a phone. It's got a calculator on it. You don't
Yeah,
need to know how much to
but
count.
I'm saying the cashiers in stores, the totals ring up for them and changes. So
Right.
when they give you back change, they just hand it to you. They don't count it back. They don't know what that is. They just hand it to you
No.
because they said, "Well, here's what it is to give me.
Right. Right.
Give them 80 cents back." Okay.
Right. I know. And so, I mean, yeah, this is all part of technology. Like it does great, but I'll tell you what,
So it shuts
it
down.
also, or it shuts down. And yeah, and when well, it's like your computer. Come on, you know what? You love your computer. You go home, you want to watch a video, you want to look something up, and then the computer doesn't work. And now it's like it's doing weird stuff. And now, of course, it's not like, oh, I just tighten
So
it
I
with a little
do.
screwdriver. Yeah, what do I do? If you're not a computer person, I can do a lot of, I've been able to keep my computers going and stuff. But if you don't know the first thing about how to do anything, now you got to try to call somebody, to service, to take over your computer or whatever, call the manufacturer and all this stuff, and then it's really frustrating, really frustrating. So when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, it's like you feel like helpless.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
do
there's
because I don't know what to do, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to throw this phone
right,
because I don't know what to do.
right. And you put in
Yeah.
that password, and it says your password doesn't match. What do you mean it doesn't match? What do you mean it doesn't match? I'm going to type that thing in again. Your password does not match. Huh? Okay, I'm going to go real slow. I'm going to type. Your password doesn't match. I've had that sometimes. I've signed out of the site, go right back, and there you go.
Yep. That's when I really, I don't know what to do.
Right, right. Yeah, you
I'm
don't know what
looking
to
at
do.
my password. I went on a site not too long ago and password new. So I made the password and I wrote it down right in front of me. And I had to redo it again twice. So then I go a little further and now they want my password. I got it wrote down right here. And I put it in. No, wrong password. Put it in again. Wrong. I never did go any further.
Well, I got a site because I got to call them that I order stuff fairly regularly for work. And this one, I have several sites that I order stuff, supplies for work with. And the one of them, I don't ever remember setting up. Well, they have an account because when I try to every time set up a new account where it says, do you want to create an account? I put my email in, right? And then they go, there's already an account associated with this email. Okay, fine. So it's simple enough. Click on forgot password. Click on that, enter your password. A password has been emailed to you. And I always keep forgetting to call them. I've probably done that the last 5 times I've ordered from this company. Not once to this day have I ever gotten a password sent to me. And I've had that happen a few times. They'll say, email you your password or email you a link to reset your password. Never get it. Check the spam. Never get it. Do it again. Doesn't come. Do it again. And to this day, that company, I don't know how many times, probably 25 times I've clicked on it to redo it. So I'll do it 4 or 5 times each time. And to this day, I've never gotten an email from them to reset my password. I keep forgetting to call them. I'm like, I can't be the only person that's happening to. So yeah, it's like you're stuck. Well, what do I do now? In some of these places, they're in the phone number to call. Oh, because it's all online. Wow. So I just can't do anything because it's all in cyberspace. Everything's in cyberspace. So yeah, it's great when it's good.
But here's what I
love my computer,
but here's what I love. When I went on to do this new site a few weeks ago, so I'm like, okay, they won't take my password, so I'm gonna redo it all over again, right? And you start to do it over again, and they're like, you can't do it again. You're already, what I mean? I couldn't set up a new account.
Right.
You already have me as
on.
You
can't. The only way you can do something like that is if you have a new email. Now you've got to go in and you've got to set up a new email at some, service, whether it be, Google or whatever. Now you've got to create a whole new email account because they keep saying, well, this is, you've already got an account registered with us. So the only way you can do it is go and do it under a whole new identity, which is your email account.
Yeah,
and then you're like a new person.
But then you have your other accounts already on that email. So if you set up a new one, then don't you have to change them on all the other ones to have that?
I think did I get disconnected?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, hold on. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Let me say something.
I'm not connected. I'm not connected on my headset. Technical problem here. Sorry. Let me try again.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's really frustrating and stuff like that because it's not like you can just pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, those days are over. Without anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Everything is going. I think everything's going to eventually be like when you walk into a store, there isn't going to be that person you can talk to. Everything. It's going to be like I mean, come on. All your speech recognition, which is great, look at all the stuff that you can have in your home now that you just talk to it. It'll turn your lights on and, turn my lights on, turn my TV on. What's the weather going to be? You can talk to your computer, just like on Star Trek, it used to be computer, do this, computer, do that. Well, you're going to walk into your store and you're going to have a question for somebody and there'll be these little terminals. And those will be your.
We're already the Jetsons. Who would have thunk it? That the Jetsons, back in the 60s, late 60s.
But here's the question: who was happier, the Jetsons or the Flintstones?
They were both pretty happy.
They were pretty happy, but I don't know. I think I don't. Barney was always kind of laughing.
The question is, who was happier? The Jetsons or the people living in the 60s and 70s. And I think the 70s, we just had a better, simpler life. I don't know. Maybe that's because we lived in the 70s, but
I've told you this. So anybody that's listening that's got a few $100 million, maybe $1 billion that they want to spend, I've always had this great idea. And, for people that we grew up in the 70s, And the people that grew up in, I mean, I was like a teenager in the 70s.
Right.
You know, I was young in the 60s and had great times in the 80s and all that. But, you know, and all these people who have said, oh, man, I would have liked to have lived in the 70s. So my idea years ago was you do almost like a Disney World or a Disneyland. And you do it like 3 sections of it. You know, you'd have to have a place where you'd have to have a lot of space. And you go there for a week and you have one section. It's just like a town back in the 60s.
Yeah.
The music, if you only had rotary phones in, they would have some cars that were, you know, redone, that were, you know, you paid so much to use that car just to drive around a little town. If you wanted, you probably even there wouldn't need a car. But, you know, when you went into any of the stores were set up like the 60s.
Right.
The type of technology they had were like the 60s.
You want to
go into your room,
your family while you're there, you have to use a rotary phone.
You got to use a rotary phone. And then when you go to your room, your resort or whatever room, now you turn on the TV and they play this, you know, loop. Yeah. So now you play only the shows that were on in the 60s. They play the commercials that were on in the 60s, just like you're watching TV today. And you know what? Back in the 60s, you're only going to have your 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC. So you got to live with that. You know, you're going to have maybe a record player over there with a whole bunch of music, you know, and then you have a section that's for the 70s.
Right. There is no outside while you're outside.
No, I mean, it's like, that's all you can. You go and spend a week in the 60s and you go and spend a week in the 70s. And, you know, maybe they'd have a movie theater there and they only play movies that are, you know, from the 60s. Right. Or the 70s or the 80s, whatever time period.
A big type resort, like a resort, and you can go to restaurants from back then. You can go to movie theaters from back then. You can go into shopping stores.
I think it would. I really believe that people, like let's say you and I, you want to go on a week's vacation and you want to kind of just get. You know, you burned out on the whole technology thing and all that stuff, and you want to just go and remember what it was like when you were, you know, living in the 70s. I don't know. Maybe you would appreciate
that. I think there's younger people that would like to go and see what it was like.
The only problem is that you can't bring your smartphone if you're in the 70s.
No, you're not allowed. Like I said, they're not allowed on the. You know, you sign a waiver with electronic device, you will be removed.
Right.
Because that's the whole thing. You don't bring.
It's like going to Fantasy Island.
You call your family. You call them from the rotary phone in your room, or the walk-in payphones that are here and there around the region.
And if you want to take a picture of your vacation, you know, you can. You can rent a camera there, and they'll develop a film for you.
Yeah.
And you can wait 3 days, and then go pick it up and pull out your pictures out of an envelope after you've waited 3 days and realize they're all out of focus.
Right. You got to pay for them anyway. Got to remember, you had to go. We had to take them to where we get them developed, and then you waited 3, 4, 5 days, whatever. I think the later it got in the years, it got down to 3 or 4 days. And then you have this big wad of pictures. Right. And about 10 of them are just your finger.
Yeah, or they're blurred. They're totally out of focus. Or
they're out of focus. There's no picture.
Yeah.
But I don't know, did they charge you for those still? Or charge you?
I don't remember. But, you know, there was something
special. Kind of face on it, you got charged for it.
But it was something special about that because, you know, there was that anticipation.
Oh,
it's like,
I
got to go pick up the pictures from that party. Oh, I can't wait to see what you know.
Okay, but I used to know a girl who worked at this, like, big developing company. There was, not far, but anyway. And she was telling me one time, someone had sent in pictures of the Pope. I don't know who it was, but there was someone there following the whole procedure of the pictures being developed, so no one got a copy of the picture of the Pope.
Oh wow.
Now this would have been the 80s. This was the 80s, and of course, this was the 80s. Of course, no pictures of any nudity.
Oh right. I remember that. Yeah.
They weren't allowed to develop.
Right. They couldn't develop them, or you
Even
weren't allowed.
adults, the girl
No.
spread eagle, they wouldn't develop it.
Yeah. Yeah, my, how times have changed, right?
In fact, yeah, listen to this. I had my oldest son, who's 35 now, so that would have been about 35 years ago. I took pictures of him. He was about 6 months old, or maybe even younger. He was a baby, and I took pictures of him laying on the bed at my mother's house, and he had no clothes on, but he was a baby. It was cute, and there was one of him laying on his stomach, and there was a couple of them laying on his stomach, but there was one laying on his back, and it showed his little pee-pee, right? They didn't develop the one that showed his little. I'm saying pee-pee would be nice, but I didn't get it back. They wouldn't develop. They developed the ones of him on his stomach that showed his little butt, but did not develop the other one. And then, come on, it was just a picture of a baby,
right?
And you kind of wanted the picture. He was like 4, 5, 6 months old. You did that,
right?
And it wasn't like you could tell with all the other pictures I took that it was just a mother wanting pictures of her baby, and they would not develop the one that he was on his back. I'm like, oh wow. Today, there you go. But yeah, they wouldn't develop that one.
Yeah. So I can remember many times pictures and waiting for them, and the only downfall to it was I'd known few people. When years ago, when I was married, my ex-wife and I went to Hawaii, and we got as many of the pictures. Of course, we were taking lots of pictures. I had been there when I was a young teenager, 14, but she had never been to Hawaii before, and so we were there for 2 weeks, and we were taking lots of pictures, of course, and I remember as soon as we used up that roll, sometimes being, the first day or whatever, we found a place that developed pictures because I said to her, at that time, I don't even think we could bring carry-on. Everything had to be like, but if the pictures were messed up, we were still there to take them again. We didn't want to take, 10 rolls of pictures of Hawaii and then bring them all back and then get them developed and find out they were all messed up or something was wrong with the camera, things like that. So as soon as, we would take them there in Hawaii and get them developed right away because we were so scared that we'd have all these pictures of this one trip, maybe never go there again, and we wouldn't have any pictures. None of us
were photographers, and so how many pictures we take? I know me.
Oh my God.
And my hand would be over the whole picture, or your finger would be halfway in it, and you get those pictures back, and you're like, oh, that was a picture.
That's why they came out with the what were they called? The cameras where you put the cartridge in it, you click the picture, and it spits out the film, and it develops in front of you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those were huge. Oh, those were great. And now I just saw on one of the shopping channels recently. Now they got these little. I don't see the point of this, but it's this little camera. No, I'm sorry. It's not the camera. It's a printer.
Developer. Yeah,
it's a printer. Well, the picture is already, the ink is already on the paper. You have to buy this special paper, and then I guess you download it or plug it into your computer. You get the pictures, and now it prints out. All the ink is made onto this pre-done paper, so you don't have to have any ink cartridges or anything like that. Then it prints it out, and it's like a wallet-sized picture. It's like, what's a wallet size? Like a 2x3. Yeah, really little.
Was it smaller than the phone?
It was small. Oh yeah, because it's only like a 2x3, little wallet-sized picture, and then it has a sticky stuff. So you peel off the paper and then you stick it on whatever. I don't know. I don't see a big. I don't know.
Well, no, because they're so small.
Well, they're so small. We can stick them
Magnet
to.
out of it, you know.
What
You
do
put them on a magnet of your kids and put them on the fridge. But other than that, I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to start sticking pictures all over my wall.
No,
I don't know. But I mean, that's the closest thing I've seen to
Polaroid.
Yeah, to the old Polaroids. Yeah, everybody was getting those. You know, you yank that film out and then watch it develop, and that was kind of cool because then
But you remember you also had to like we would like wave in the air to dry it because they had to dry first.
Right, but that was kind of cool because you could see your picture. You didn't have to. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And but
I always tell this story back in the mid-70s. My dad would always take us to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers practice. Just now, it's a big event. You have to tickets. Then you just drove in the parking lot at this small cottage and you watched the Pittsburgh Steelers practice. But anyway, so when they would come off the field, there was these steps that came up off the field, and it was like right in the grass, but there were these steps. So I had my Polaroid ready, and I remember I was a fan of Franco Harris. He was a Steeler back in the 70s. And as he was walking up the steps, and they were massive, they were just so huge people. And I was like, I don't know, 13. And I took my Polaroid picture of Franco Harris, and it popped out of the camera. Mm-hmm. But it was just still there. It was hanging in the camera. Now Franco Harris comes by, and like I say, they're so huge men, and he knocked it out. He knocked the picture out of the camera, right? And it dropped. He picked it up for me, just here. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I regret why didn't I have him sign that picture?
Right.
I sure had my ink pen in my hand because you could bring footballs. They just go up and lay on the grass after practice. Some of them, and you could go up and step item on the grass. They weren't these celebrities they are today. I guess.
Right.
And I was just a young girl, but thinking, because there was a spot always on the bottom of those pictures where you could write something. Remember, like there was a white area, and you could put like who it was or the date.
right on the bottom. It's like a border, but it had a half-inch spot along the bottom.
Yeah. And I'm like, I was just so starstruck when he handed it to me. But yeah, I always regretted I didn't. And probably if I was older, I would have. But I was young, and I was Franco Harris. So I had his picture that he knocked out of my camera, and I didn't have him sign it. He was right there. And like I say, they would sign anything. Mm-hmm. I remember my dad once had this football, and he would just chase them all down. He'd say, hey. I don't know what he ever did with that football, but he had a lot of Steelers from the 70s. And he'd run after him. Hey, you want to sign that?
Well, yeah, you go running after them now. They're going to tackle you down.
Well, not only that, like I say, you're probably not allowed that close to them.
Right.
Like I say, they would walk off the field, and they were so exhausted, they would just drop on the ground and just kind of lay there and rest.
Right.
And then all these people would be around them and they'd sign it. Now, I heard that you have to get tickets. You have to buy tickets. They only sell so many. And now it's a big event to go there. And watch.
Right. Well, I've heard some of the really old football players, that played back in the 60s and the 50s and stuff like that. And they would all say, we played the game because it was fun. We loved playing the game. And yeah, I mean, they didn't get paid. They weren't millionaires. I realized money was worth, it's worth a lot more now, but they didn't get paid even in relationship to what these players get paid now. They played it because they loved the game of football or baseball or whatever. But now it's just become such a big,
back then it was a sport. I mean, it's still a sport, but today, football players are celebrities.
Right.
They're celebrities. And they make more money than your average star does if you're a good,
Right.
And they just weren't the celebrities back then. They were just football.
They were sport.
Everybody
players.
didn't know who, Terry Bradshaw or Lynn Swann or Franco Harris. Just the mostly men that watch football. But now everybody knows who, you know, Tom Brady is, and Ben Roethlisberger.
Well,
Everybody they're on the news. They're on. Something happens to if they, they're something happens. They're all over the news. They're celebrities now.
Well, it's all
Back
over the
then,
news.
if you didn't watch football, you didn't know who they were.
Well, now you have, all the sports channels. You have NFL Network, 24 hours a day of sports. You have all of, it's like we talked about before. You have the media out there, you have the internet, you have the YouTube, you have everything that, so now.
ESPN1, ESPN2.
Right, you have everything. So, yeah, it's talked about, it's like anything else. We talked about once before how, when we were growing up and you loved a certain rock group, unless their picture was on the front of the album or something, or on an insert inside, a lot of times there were several of them that, I loved their music, and, I never saw what they looked like, until later on.
Well, it's like
you didn't know what they looked like.
I was a huge fan of oh gosh, help me out here.
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. No, my brain just goes dead. But I was a huge fan of Bob Seger, and I would only see him on his album jackets. And the first time I ever saw him sing was about 8 years ago on a show called The View. It was the first time, and since the 70s, of being a fan of his, that I saw him sing.
The only thing that we had, the only thing that we had was Midnight Special. We had the Midnight Special. That was great.
Yeah, didn't see it.
You would have some of the but if they weren't on that, that's what I'm saying. They, these rock groups,
you went to their concert, and their concert was far away, and I never got to.
Yeah, and unless it was some Teen Idol or bubblegum rock type.
Live. Does that count?
Yeah. But I mean, unless it was a Teen Idol, something like that would be on The Tonight Show or Merv Griffin or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, but I'm just saying your rock groups. I mean, a lot of them, but so many. I remember a couple of them. It's like it was a long, not that I never saw what they looked like, but it was a long time before I did know. I just hear their music.
Right.
Now, of course, you here's a singer, you just go on, just look it up on the computer. Yeah, times have changed. Maybe that's what pisses us off. Maybe our whole subject. What we're really pissed off at is that times have changed. Times have changed.
Well, now if you're a fan of anybody, and you want to know every little thing, you go on YouTube and you will know every little thing about them. But when we grew up, I remember I would, every time I go to the store as like a very young teenager, 13, with my parents, and they had the whole big section of magazines. It was like Time, Beat, or I don't remember all of them. And I'd get 2 or 3 of those every time I went to the store, and that's the only way you could see your favorite movie star or maybe your favorite singer is in these movie star magazines.
Right.
We had 3 channels, and they didn't devote much. Unless a movie star died or a singer died, they didn't put that on 3. Right. And our news was only a half hour. Back then we had a half-hour news at 11 o'clock every night. That was it. Well, they can't fit all that stuff on there. So no, we had to learn from magazines or Our tech guy's telling us that our show should end.
Oh. Okay.
So
we covered most of the subject
tonight. So welcome that, throughout the week.
Yeah, join the chat next week.
Just hear your thoughts, your views. You can even put them on. Just go to the podcast and you have something to say or a thought. We look forward to it.
We didn't cover all of the things.
No, we didn't cover everything. We'll get to that.
I got 2 or 3 things left, and maybe next week we'll throw that in there too.
Yeah. And if anyone else has something they'd like to talk about, maybe a pet peeve. Like I said, you can put it on the podcast on the week too, or join us next Monday again. So thank you, and Have a great week.
Have a great week, and go USA in the Olympics. All right, we'll